Start Podcast.
And welcome back to the Press Start Podcast. This is episode number 81, and I'm your host Vic, aka Mr. Never Chillin'. Of course, I'm joined by my co-host and returning back after 2 weeks missing, Lunatic Oblivion.
Hey guys, how are you doing today? It's been quite some time since I've been on. Went to a convention, then had to visit with family in New Jersey.
Yep.
But
How'd all
what an
that go?
interesting. The
How'd it-
convention went great, actually. It was an awesome time. Went to Katsukan National Harbor. Uh, Honestly, we got a hotel room right next to the convention center. We didn't get the hotel in the convention center, but it was still super easy and awesome.
So shows there's 20 seconds live. Yeah, it's a little delayed right now. Disney Princess.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a delay on the episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, everything's been going pretty good. But let's talk about some games. One of the games that came out this week here, and you seem to have hated. You said it's complete garbage, it's trash, and no one should play it. So, Wolong Fallen Dynasty, one of the games that you played this week. So you played your first Souls-like, and you said it was complete trash.
Yeah, pretty much. It's not a trash game. It's just the first boss of the game should not be the hardest boss of the game. You know what I'm saying? That boss, I still have yet to beat it. I probably tried like a good couple hundred times, and I still cannot beat it to save my life. So I was just like, you know what, fuck it. I almost broke my monitor with the controller, and I was just like, I just got to step away. I'll come back to this eventually, and we'll see how it's going. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
sounds like I'm echoing a little bit here. Check 1 2 1 2. All right, we're good right now. But yeah, yeah. Other than that, though, I mean, the first part of the game was working really well, up until the boss, and then
Mhm.
like right before the boss, I was like, oh, cool, this guy's gonna be easy, and I whipped his ass, and then you go fight the real boss, and I was like, well, damn. And then like when I first
Yeah.
beat him, I didn't know he evolves into this like Super Saiyan God mode creature, and yeah, I was like, well, fuck. And then I died to him, and like there's no like checkpoint after beating the first part of him. And I was like, that
Oh
part was
yeah.
already hard enough.
Well, dude, like that is gameplay for a JRPG style game. Something that comes from the Souls-like genre is like there are more than one phases to a boss fight sometimes,
Hmm.
and you got to be ready because like you beat one, you're like, yeah, I did it, and then phase two starts, and you're like, wait.
Wait a
I got
minute.
nothing left, dude. I got
Yeah.
no items. I got no skills. I'm dead. And the boss is just like, sorry, bro. I'm
Yeah.
even harder now. And then just whips you.
Yeah, it's been brutal. But I mean, it looks good. Even running it on my PC, which is only has that GTX, RTX, whatever 980, and it looks okay. But I know this game would look thousand times better if I was running this on my Series X.
It honestly, it looks so good. I've only had one issue with the game, and it was unoptimized on one level where you were in a bamboo forest. So like the whole game is rendering each stick of like each tree of bamboo, and you're like, okay, so the game will start slowing down, and I'm like, oh god, it's not dropping frames. It's literally the game speed is slowing down because it can't keep up.
Oh, jeez, that's crazy.
Yeah,
But yeah,
but
man,
like.
let's talk about another game that we both been checking out. It's a relatively new game, Atomic Hearts. I know you recently beat it. I'm like a quarter of the way done with the game. Not really. I just got into the open world. And well, what was your first impression? And then by the end of it, what was your thoughts?
I thought the game was amazing. My first impressions were the game was fucking awesome. It was fun. It played well. It didn't feel railroady, and it was a nice experience. But I feel as though the open world wasn't bad. We could have done without it. Actually, it's one of those games where like if I didn't have open world, or if the game started open world, it would have been better. Like those were the two things. Like if I like that the intro to the game took time. There was a lot of story. It was like 35, 45 minutes of just straight story and walking around.
Yeah,
And then shit hits the fan, game plays in, and you start playing through it. It just felt good. I honestly I really enjoyed the game the whole way through. So I think by the end of it though, the just it took a while for the game itself to like start picking up, but after it picked up, it was awesome.
yeah, yeah. I'm definitely enjoying it so far. It just seems like really really difficult to play at times, and it's just like I'm running out of health items, and sometimes like it's just too much combat in between like mission, like when you're trying to get from point A to point B, and there's just too much combat in between points. And yeah, I definitely agree. So
Well,
far, I don't
let
think this
me.
game needs the open world. Is my personal opinion.
What difficulty are you playing on though?
The medium, like right in the middle, like normal.
How are you running out of healing items? I actually had so many healing items, I could not like I had to deconstruct them after every fight. I was like, I have too many.
Yeah, maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I feel like the window to dodge in the game too is rough, and then like the Q to know when to dodge is really weird because like it puts the Q at the bottom, like on their feet half the time, and I'm like I don't even see it because they're moving around. I'm trying to turn, catch up, and then like by the time I'm looking at them, I'm not looking at their feet. I'm looking up top trying to take their head off. So it's like the timing and just some of the stuff just feels really
Yeah, I
clunky.
never felt that way at all. Like the game the whole way through felt pretty smooth. I think the biggest downside had to have been the ability usage. Like it felt like the ability usage was tacked on. They were like, "Oh, you'll need to choose different abilities, come at different fights with different scenarios."
Hmm.
And then I was like, there's one time I was like, maybe I should swap my abilities and try something new. But once you start the boss fight, it's not like you can hit the upgrade station right behind you to swap out your abilities. If you die and restart the fight, it puts you in the boss fight, not back here at the room where you can change your ability. So it felt like there was never a chance to really adjust my strategy. It was, you've already got your strategy, now get fucked.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I listen to other podcasts all the time, and basically the consensus is the game is trying to do too much, like trying to do all these different features instead of just focusing on what it is really trying to be, and that's where the biggest negativity is coming from behind the game.
I think that is a fair assessment. The game does have a lot to it, and I think yeah, if we lost the open world, wouldn't be a problem. If we if like some of the side zones weren't so clunky to go through, if some of like dealing with the robots out in the wild wasn't so like if the robots didn't respawn, it
Yeah,
wouldn't be a problem. I think the fact that like it feels like it's there to give you a continual challenge. Like robots are the only thing that respawn, but like you can find mutants out in the open and shoot them and they don't respawn and that feels good. But like
yeah,
yeah, it felt like there was a lot of bad guys and a lot of just like trying to get through some stuff that just it took too long, took too much time.
yeah. But yeah, I'm really curious to see how it plays out in the rest of the story because I love the idea, what the premise is, and just really excited to see how it finishes up. But yeah, some other games here. You've been playing some more card games, whether it's Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic the Gathering. How's that been? Any new sets? Any new cards? Big pools?
Well, I ended up deciding to buy two tins off of Amazon for $15 a piece, and I was like, I'm trying to pull a $50 card, and I was like, what's the odds I pull a $50 card? And I'm sitting there with my friends last Wednesday in person, and I pulled open a pack, and I was like, oh, watch me just pull. There it is. Here, you want it? $50. So my friend just hands me 50 in cash right there. I
No,
was like,
just
okay, well, the tins were free, I guess.
yeah, yeah. That's pretty dope. What was the card?
It's called Pot of Prosperity, and it's just sort of a key card that everyone plays in a tournament deck. So, but I had playing that, and also I've been playing some MTG. I ended up getting an MTGA. I'm looking to save up my arena tokens, and maybe I might do an arena stream again here sometime soon because I know people enjoy checking in and watching me do some drafts. So
Hmm.
be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, for sure. Outside of
So
that, though, we've been playing our competitive games, both Overwatch and Call of Duty. I personally think Call of Duty has been a lot of fun, whether we're getting our asses wrecked, but I think we're getting better. Once we get a little bit more feel for the game, we're gonna do really good. But we were playing some multiplayer this week, and you were like, "Dude, chill out!" Fucking out there with like 42 bombs
yeah,
and
yeah.
shit like
I'm
that.
like sitting here, I'm still first in the lobby, and then I look right above me and first playing a whole nother game. Like you're off in your own world. I'm like doing better than everyone in the lobby, and you're still double my kills. And I'm like,
How?
what's going on, man? I can't keep up. I was like, what is this game when we can play and like even I'm doing better than everyone else, and you're still leagues ahead of the entire team.
Yeah, that's just the difference though. Playing pubs versus like ranked matches. Like when I was hopping in, I was
Yeah.
running. I actually hopped into a couple scrimmages with Shoot to Win because I got into a shit talking match on Twitter, and they were like, "Pull up, Dan, pull up." I said, "All right, cool." I pulled up. I went 3-0 in the matches, but those games were sweaty as I don't know what. Like
Yeah.
you might go kill, die, kill, die, kill, die, but it doesn't matter because the objective is what we play heavy because it's
Yeah.
hard point, search, or control.
And
Like you got to play as a team. You got to do the
and
objective.
that's ranked COD. Whereas like I think the biggest thing COD gets a bad rap because it's just everyone, jumping into a mosh pit and just shooting each other in the face repetitively, and there's really no like you'll lose horribly in KD, but then somehow still win the game by a landslide.
Hmm. Pretty much.
It's like Overwatch. It's straight up like Overwatch, for example, which is a game we've both been playing. And like you'll sit there and you'll just get shreked by the enemy team, but they'll just stop playing the objective and they'll C9 and you're like, "Wow, I guess we win?"
Yeah, yeah. And I was thinking about it actually a little bit before the podcast started. I hopped in the shower, and that was one of my thoughts when I was in there was about Overwatch. I was like, man, like we lost today, and like it feels like we never win. I think I have a total of like 8 wins in ranked Overwatch or something like
But
that.
like the crazy thing is, like before I even started, I was sitting there playing with I was playing an Angel of Mercy from my Discord was in chat and he was talking with me and I didn't lose a single. I lost like one or two games over the course of 2 hours, and
Hmm.
that was like ten games I played, and I was just winning one after the other. But then I think the biggest problem is when you play games like Overwatch or competitive shooters, you got to work as a team. And the problem is like there are no call outs, people aren't really working together. Like I ended up playing when you weren't around this week. Um, we played I think Thursday. I won every game. We won every game, I think it was. I had not a single loss with Jeff Slugs, Spooky Crew, myself. I think Marshmallow was with us. And all we had to do was sit there and call out stuff. And I think that's the biggest issue with some of these competitive shooters.
Hmm.
We're not really calling out. And I think that's the biggest thing that's kind of toxic to the community because these games, you know, shooter games are having a struggle lately where people aren't playing as a team. Everyone's out for themselves, and then they get pissed, and then they start shit talking other people
Right.
because people don't want to play together for some reason. Like it's
Yeah.
not a me kind of game. Even
Right.
COD, yeah, you can go 30-0, but at the end of the day, if you're not picking up tags or you're not sitting there on the hard point, you're still gonna lose.
Right. Yeah, that's actually one of the biggest things. Like when I was playing Call of Duty with Shoot to Win all the time, and it's always about communication. And you can tell if you lost, the reason why we lost is because we didn't communicate enough. And when
Yeah.
we won, all you heard was nothing but fucking communication from the start of the match to the end of the match. And it's just
Hmm.
it's really crucial to call things out. Hey, this person's over here. They're on this site. But then also knowing the call outs too. All right, what building are they in? You got to be able to call out specific areas of the map because if you just say he's over there, I have no idea where over there
Over
is.
where?
And like the
Yeah.
pinging isn't really as prevalent in Call of Duty as it is Overwatch, but like that doesn't always work specifically, so you got to make sure you're calling out specific areas.
Yeah, definitely for sure. And I think there's a lot to be seen there. But I want to ask you about one game you played here. Looks like you've started playing Hot Wheels Unleashed. How's the game?
I mean, Marshmallow knows how this is because we talk about it all the time. It's a turn your brain off kind of racing game because I don't think you can lose in that game. Because like he says in a 10 lap race, I'll probably lap the other people 3 times in a 10 lap race. Like it's just
Hmm.
not competitive at all. It's fun. It's nostalgic to me because I know back in the day we played a Hot Wheels game all the time, and just playing with the little Hot Wheels on the orange track. It's fun, but
It's
it's
iconic.
yeah. So it's cool. It's just a game. I'll race like 3 races and then all right, cool. On to the next game. What am I playing next? But I did play the other racer though, Forza Horizon 5. I just hopped back in just
Hmm.
to check it out because I know we um, announced last week that the next expansion's coming, the whole rally stuff, and there's a new story, expansion story coming with it. So I was like, okay, maybe this is my chance to hop back into this game and pick it back up. First time I played it on my new TV that runs at 120 frames per second, and much higher fidelity. I'm like, yo, this game looks even better than the first time I fucking
Yeah,
played it. And I had a
yeah,
4K
definitely.
TV, but
Like,
I was running at 60. But that's the difference in racing games is you'll notice that in a racing game for
yeah,
sure. It
like
just runs
I
smoother.
gotta say, when I picked up Forza and I was playing it here on my PC and I was playing, over 100 frames, it was such a beautiful game. And it's already what, 2, 3 years old?
Yeah, 2 years. Yeah, I think it's 2 years now at this point.
My man Marshmallow, you can't lose, he says. No, definitely. Hot Wheels is awesome. But so, Vic, let's talk about the game releases coming out this week here. So, one of the interesting things is we've been getting crossovers lately, and one of the big crossovers is Dead Cells now has a Return to Castlevania crossover coming out.
Yeah,
That's on March 6th. We've got Outlanders coming for March 7th. We've got Clash, Artifacts of Chaos. We've got Fatal Frame, Mask of the Lunar Eclipse. We've got Ib, Know by Heart. Monster Energy Supercross 6. Oni, Road to the Magic, the Mightiest Oni. And then we've got Session, Skate Sim, all of which coming out on March 9th. And then we end the week with DC's Justice League Cosmic Chaos and No Before Your Eyes, which is a PS VR2 title, which is pretty interesting.
yeah. I mean, it just released on the 22nd, so it's cool that they're seeing already like newer releases pretty quick. I mean, it already launched
Mhm.
with like 50 games, but I have to say,
But
man,
now to actually have more coming right after it is awesome.
yeah. Excuse me. I have to say, there's probably not a single game coming out this week that I'm excited for. Just putting
Yeah,
it out
same.
there. The
I'm like,
closest might be the
I'm
Dead
looking.
Cells Return to Castlevania. It might be the only one.
Yeah, even I'm like, there's nothing here. It's all kind of like small indie games, which is cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there who like these small indie games, but for me, I'm just like, I don't know if there's really much out here that's coming out for me this week.
Yeah, it looks like there's a bunch of
Ib,
Switch releases too, like Session, Skate Sim, like that's already out. It's just coming to the Switch. No by Heart
mhm.
Switch release. Ib is a Switch release. So
Ib is a pretty interesting looking game here. That's a it's like a 2D horror exploration game. And like it's a 10 out of 10 on Steam, which is crazy that almost everyone who plays it says it's an amazing game.
yeah, I do see that. Yeah, that was actually an older game. It originally released on Steam in 2012 when we graduated.
Yeah.
So it's definitely
And
been
it's
out
a
for a while.
re-release.
And then speaking of
Yeah,
rally, like you have the Monster Energy Supercross 6, like that's not going to compete with Forza Horizon 5 in any way, shape, or form.
yeah. And it's a dirt bike game, right? So like it's not even in the same it's
Oh, is
not
it?
even
I
in
thought it
the
was a rally game.
yeah.
My apologies.
No, it's the yeah, it's the it's the Supercross, which is motorcycle.
Okay. Yep. My
But
apologies. We
yeah,
haven't had
honestly, this
we
week's
hadn't a
a good
bike
week.
game in a while.
Yeah, honestly, this week's going to be a very quiet week for games, and I think this is the week to get caught up on things like Wolong. Now that released on Friday, you've got Atomic Hearts releasing a week and a half ago now.
hmm
So there's quite a few games out there right now that like it's giving people time to catch up, I think, and
Yeah.
then maybe you can dash in some of these games. Now, how many of these are coming to Game Pass though?
Don't think any of these ones are.
Yeah, and that's the point I want to make is
Yeah,
not
this
really
week's
much
quiet.
coming to Game Pass this week. Yeah, honestly, Game Pass is doing pretty well recently, especially with the fact that they're slowly rolling out more of the family plan across the world.
hmm
So interesting to see that their releases have kind of slowed down. But for like Wo Long last week to
Actually,
be day one Game Pass,
there is one that's coming out this week. It's Guilty Gear Strive coming out on the 7th. I forgot
that's
about that
true.
one. Because I know that's a pretty big game that's supposed to be releasing this week. That's going to be coming out. And then we just had Wolong a couple of days ago. And then we don't got much until the end of the month when we got MLB The Show and Infinite Guitars on the 30th. So I mean, it was a pretty solid month for Game Pass. Something pretty solid
No, yeah, definitely.
every week
And it's
almost.
only it's only a few it's only a few days into the month too.
Right there's going to be some new announcements halfway through the month, so it'll be interesting to see those. But yeah, man, let's move on to our industry news. Of course, I'm going to kick it off with everybody's favorite portion of it is Activision Blizzard. First off, they fired two testers for profane languages, but the CWA are basically saying that these firings have nothing to do with that and has something to do with all that union activity that has been going on. And if that's the case, that's going to be a pretty bad lawsuit for Activision Blizzard again. But on the other part of Activision Blizzard with the whole deal with Microsoft, we got some new updates here. The FTC has denied Sony's motion and ordered the company to produce the documents that Microsoft has requested via the subpoena. And in these
Mhm.
documents, we actually might see some of the details in regards to how much they're paying companies to prevent games from coming on the Game Pass. So those are going to be really interesting numbers to see how much money they're forking out just to keep games off of Game Pass because they know that's going to be detrimental to their success. Um,
Yeah, definitely. Especially with Sony kind of flopping really with the PSN network and like PSN Plus. Like it's doing well, but it's not Game Pass.
it's not.
And honestly, I think they're missing the mark. Like if they do the same thing Xbox did, got all the same games Xbox does for their subscription model, they would literally the market would be split 50-50.
Yeah, I think
And then
I
I
definitely
was
agree.
gonna
It's
say
it's definitely getting better.
yeah, and like if, for example, they decided to finally do a better PSN Plus, we would see where the computer market is really leading for Microsoft and how, yes, this Activision Blizzard is going to be huge for Microsoft because of the PC market, but we'll finally be able to see that Microsoft doesn't really care about the console as much as they do just everything.
Yeah, they're just more worried
And
about the
they're going to win both
ecosystem.
platforms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they know that if we get Activision and Blizzard, we can throw their games on Game Pass, so people are playing console, PC, mobile, cloud, whatever device that you want to play on, you're going to be able to enjoy the games, and that's all they're really worried about. But
hmm If
another
they can keep your subscription, that's all that matters.
yeah, and the subscription numbers just keep going up. But other news here in regards to this deal is that Microsoft did agree that they are willing to pay a third-party company to basically to oversee the compliance. Basically, anything that they agree for this acquisition to go through, they're even willing to pay a third party to overlook that they do follow through with all of this stuff. Make sure they're not doing stuff
hmm
behind closed doors or anything like that. Everything that would have to go with anything revolving around Activision Blizzard would go through this third party to make sure it's in compliance to the agreements.
I think I think that right there is the thing that's the straw that will break the camel's back for me, where I'm like, yeah, fine. If you're because I'm worried about Microsoft just reneging on their deals 5 years from now, because who cares? Break a contract, pay a few $1 million. They're still raking in billions, so who
Mm-hmm.
cares? But like in this case, if we're looking at a third party that can be like, sorry, you got to sell off this company now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's a definitely a major thing, and part of I mean because of this, the EU are more than likely going to approve this deal. It's really just going to come
hmm
down to the CWA and also the FTC if they are going to approve it, which they're leaning towards it. They're just obviously just going through the whole process how they should be. So I applaud the whole all the systems going through like eat like step by step to make sure that everything is covered in here, making sure it's not going to become a monopoly where Microsoft buys them, prevents everything from going on other platforms, and it's actually the opposite. Microsoft's trying to buy them and put them on platforms it's not on. Like they're
Yeah.
trying to add it to the Nvidia GeForce. They're trying to add it to Nintendo, which hasn't had a Call of Duty title since like 2009, maybe 2008. Like it's been a very long time since they had a Call of Duty title. So I'm really excited to see how this all plays out for sure. But we had some other interesting news here, Roger. What is going on here?
So we talk about esports a lot here. Esports kind of finally hit the pinnacle. The Olympics will now be hosting esports games. So we have well, technically 9 games that are going to be
Mm-hmm.
included. We have archery, we have baseball, we have chess, cycling, dance, motorsport, sailing, tennis, and taekwondo, all being hosted via specific games. We've got tic tac bow, WBSC Baseball Power Pros, Chess.com, Zwift, Just Dance, Gran Turismo. And hell, the fact that Gran Turismo is going to be the motorsport for the Olympics,
Is mind blowing.
Sony won. Yeah, Sony won that one somehow.
How
We've
much
got
money did they pay
virtual
the Olympic
regatta.
Committee to get that one?
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, it's like FIFA, but for fucking video games now.
Yeah.
We've got sailing through virtual regatta. We've got tennis through tennis clash, and then we've got taekwondo from virtual taekwondo, which is quite interesting to see
Mm-hmm.
these things.
Yeah. So I have a really interesting thought on this. Like I was talking to my fiance about this, and it's like, why are these the 9 games that they want to bring into the Olympics for gaming? Like all of this isn't gaming to us at all. Like where's League of Legends? Where's Call of Duty? Where's Apex
Honestly,
Legends? Where are those big games that are actually what puts
where
esports on the map?
where are the things you can't do in real life? I'm actually kind of ashamed of these games coming to the Olympics because it feels like why not just show me real taekwondo, bruh?
Right. Just put the real thing
Yeah,
in there. Like, there's no point
let me see
sailing.
that real
Let
shit.
me see
Yeah.
the actual boats sailing.
Now, like, for example, I'm all for like things like a racing game because you can get a simulation, a simulated racing, a
Hmm.
first person
Yeah.
setup to drive in a car. Like, so it kind of helps to protect people from the risk of some insane driving, but also at the same time, we have Formula One. That shit's insane.
Right. That is fucking motorsport right there. And
Yeah,
I think they went with Gran Turismo here just because it is the newest motorsport game. We don't have Forza Motorsport yet.
yeah,
The new game. So I understand why they went there. They couldn't use Forza Horizon 5 for motorsport. That's just not what that is. And it wouldn't have worked out really well that well honestly because they don't have the official tracks from the motorsport series in the game. So
yeah,
I understand that. But it just sucks that Gran Turismo got it because it was just all about timing. If Motorsport was already out, I guarantee the Olympic Committee would have been like, that's the one. Because the game's going to play better, it's going to look better. Like they have the in game ray tracing 120 frames per second, something Gran Turismo cannot support.
yeah.
But yeah, I definitely agree. Like, oh yeah, but one funny thing about all these games with chess, because of chess being announced, they have seen an influx of people going to chess.com. People in schools are playing it in the middle of the day. Like, chess has blown up out of nowhere. And I thought that was pretty
Well,
cool.
and chess actually was really big last year too. Like it actually had a big rising. One of the biggest chess stars had a big scandal. And like so chess on itself was up on the up and ups. And chess is mostly like if you're gonna play professional chess anymore, you don't play in person most of the time anyway. Because of the pandemic, people were playing professional chess just on chess.com.
Right. Yeah, to cover chat here real quick. Looks like you guys are having a fun conversation here. But yeah, there was definitely probably some prior contracts going into this and obligations for the esports stuff for just showing up. Yeah, yeah. Imagine if gymnastics were just a game. That'd be weird to see, to be honest. But yeah, we'll see
Yeah,
how this
it just
evolves.
doesn't feel right.
Hopefully in the next couple of Olympics we'll start to see the adoption of actual esport games that people play competitively at a much higher scale. Because if they imagine
Yeah.
if they took the CDL to that next level to the Olympics, you can win gold, or even taking like League of Legends because I know that's the biggest esports game ever, or even CS:GO.
Yeah.
Like if they took CS:GO to
And
the esports level.
and it's going to be really interesting to see because now we have teams with athletes who are from different countries that they've scouted and they're here on a visa.
Hmm.
Now what happens when it's your country playing a video game? We talk about League of Legends, for example. It's dominated by the Koreans. Now what happens when we actually have to play like League of Legends on the world stage? You know,
It's just gonna be
the
basketball.
Koreans that we scout for American teams can't play for America anymore because they're not American citizens.
Right. I mean, it's just like basketball. Honestly, like
Hmm.
most countries can't compete with the USA in
Yeah,
basketball. There's some of them that do, and it's because some of the players that play in the NBA go back and they play for their home country and stuff like that. So it makes it a little bit more competitive. But I think that's what we'll definitely see for sure. I mean, it's just like the baseball World Classic that's about to start here in a couple of weeks. Like there's going to be a couple teams that are going to just be untouchable, and then there's going to be some teams that are really garbage. Like there's just no competition there. So we'll definitely see how that plays out. But Roger, we got two more news here in our industry news before we move
so
on to our gaming
next
news.
we've got Dead by Daylight. It's getting a movie adaptation, so which is quite interesting because like Dead by Daylight really like it steals from other horror though. That's the crazy part.
Yeah,
Like
it's the metaverse for horror.
yeah, it's the meta of horror. Like you can pull in characters from all these different horror genres and like so for them to get a movie adaptation, I'm interested to see where it goes, but I don't think it's going to be any good. Just
Yeah,
my opinion.
yeah. Maybe hopefully
But
this is like
lastly,
hopefully it's like a Netflix movie. Like I don't see this
mhm,
movie going to theaters and becoming this new big blockbuster. I just don't see that happening.
I don't see it either. And lastly, we've got Square Enix. They'll be replacing their president, Yosuke Matsuda. Pending the approval of the board, they're going to be replacing him.
Yeah,
So
big news here.
interesting to see that Square Enix is changing their figurehead.
Yeah, and I mean it's important. I mean this is the guy that pushed for the whole um, the NFCs non-fungible or NFT, sorry, in gaming. A lot of the decisions that were happening with a lot of games, and we've seen a lot of bad games released from Square Enix over the past couple of years, and a lot of these had something to do with the president making these decisions and the cuts and not allowing these developers to
And he,
make what they want to
and
make.
he's been with Square Enix since 2013,
Yeah,
so he's been around for a while. But Square Enix has made some bad decisions lately. They haven't been top dog for quite a few years.
yeah. I think it's time to move on from Square Enix, or from him, so Square Enix can move on.
Definitely. So let's move on here to gaming news, though. We had a big week in Nintendo in the Japanese market. So let's start off with the big news out of the Breath of the Wild team, Tears of the Kingdom. Legend of Zelda is going to be the biggest game to ever hit the Switch size-wise. Assets, game data, all the files that come to make this game are going to be 18.2 gigabytes on a Switch cartridge. For size comparisons, Breath of the Wild was only 14.4 gigs. So we're looking at an almost one third of the size increase. So that's
Hmm.
quite a bit. That's a
Yeah,
quite a bit of space here. We're also looking at Xenoblade Chronicles being only 14.38 and Fire Emblem Engage, the most recent game, 12.68. So we're looking at a game that's, almost half the size bigger than like the most recent Fire Emblem game. So this is going to be huge. This is going
yeah,
to be a large game, but are we going to get a good game is the problem.
right.
More doesn't Bigger doesn't mean better, as we were joking about before the podcast here.
Yeah,
Bigger isn't always better. So are we going to get a lot of crappy, fluff, or are we actually going to get real genuine content?
right.
Just like Breath of the Wild had.
Right. And it's mind-boggling that this will be the largest Switch title. To put it in perspective, like 18.2 gigabytes. That ain't shit compared to an Xbox, PC, PlayStation game that's taking up damn near 100 gigabytes for some games, and you're just like 18.2. Like, you imagine if they actually had a Switch that could support games that had 100 gigabyte like space, and it allotted that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, how much better the Switch would be already than what it is, because we know the Switch is going to be it's already like the
Well,
number three
yeah.
console ever. So I don't know. I'm curious to
and
see if they
and
move
like
on.
and as I said, bigger isn't always better. As what I was just talking about is the fact that like the game itself, a lot of the size of these games don't come from the content. It comes from just assets, high resolution assets, and the Switch just says, "Fuck that." We're gonna keep with our 1080 720 over here, and we're gonna be happy on being able to play on the go.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's all about the balance. Is the fact that the Switch is a mobile device, and if you want to play games at 4K, you got to have the battery that supports it, the processor that's going to support it, the graphics card that's going to support it on the go. On the go. I mean, obviously the Steam Deck can support the 4K, the good graphics, but that's a much beefier console than the Switch.
Yeah.
So it
Well,
just all
and it's
depends.
also what, 5 years, 6 years
6 years.
newer
Yeah.
than the Switch?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, we're looking at a lot of time between the Switch initial release and where we are today. And remember, people buying games today still need to be able to play on that 6-year-old Switch.
Yeah.
So, like, there's not much we can do technologically to make it better, but it's interesting to at least see how big the Switch cartridges can get size wise.
And yeah, I see what Laser's saying here about Breath of the Wild. I guess you weren't a fan of the weapon breaking, but I heard that that was a crucial part of the game, being able to balance that and finding new weapons. But I did not know that you didn't have the ability to repair the weapons. That is something that I think should be a crucial feature. If your weapon is capable of breaking, you should also have the ability to repair it. But remember, Roger, we played Dying Light 2. There was no repairing the weapons. Once it broke, it broke.
Yeah,
Unlike
yeah, yeah,
Dying Light 1, you could repair the weapons in Dying Light 1, but Dying Light 2, no, you lost that ability.
yeah. You were somehow dumber in Dying Light 2 than you were in Dying Light 1. You're like, technology has eclipsed me. And you're like, wait, how? How did you forget how to do this? Like, grab some duct tape, get to fucking work, bro. Like, what's the problem with this guy? All right, so let's finish off here with the last bit of Nintendo news. We had a Pokemon Presents this week, and we had a lot of big news from it. First off, we saw the new Pokemon and Scarlet updates, as well as a hint to the new DLC, like the new trailer for the new DLC. So we are going to be getting two new Paradox Pokemon. The first being Water Wake, I think it is, and Iron Leaves are the two new Pokemon we're gonna get for Scarlet and Violet. Next, we also saw the new DLC here, which is the I forget the name here off the top of my head. It is let's
While
pull it up here.
while you look
The
that
new
up, I just
it's
want to
the
talk.
eight
Oh, you got it.
the hidden treasure of Area Zero is the new DLC coming out here. We got two splash screens. One of the main characters in sort of a Japanese sort of festival, while the other one has them at the center of a stage in an arena with
Mm.
the starters to the left and a bunch of other trainers to the right that I don't believe we've seen yet. So it'll be interesting to see where it's going. The teal mask is we'll step outside of Paldea as we take a school trip to a new land. And then the Indigo Disc, the story continues as you become an exchange student and visit another academy. So we had I think it was um, grape and grapefruit were the academies in Scarlet and Violet. We're now looking at blueberry being the academy you visit in winter 2023. But the teal mask will be coming in fall 2023, and we also saw three new Pokemon in the teal mask, which are they've got sort of like traditional Japanese style knots, rope knots,
Hmm.
accessories, and then a bunch of familiar Pokemon that have not been in Scarlet and Violet will be joining the game. Some include, I believe, Milotic here. We've got Metagross, we've got
Metagross.
Seal and Dugong.
Okay. Some
Yeah,
two
so it'll
two
be
classic ones there. I know Dugong and Metagross were competitive Pokemon back in the day. I don't know how they are now, but we'll see
mhm.
how they work out in Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, definitely. Next up, we also have Pokemon Go is getting a an update, Pokemon Go Plus Plus.
Yeah,
So,
it's that accessory that you can use, but now it's used for Pokemon Go and Pokemon Sleep, which it was a meme, but now it's a legitimate thing. It's a sleep tracker.
yes. Yep, which is a thing. We also saw Pokemon Cafe Remix. We're going to be getting characters from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are going to be joining the Cafe Remix game from 2020. We also have the Pokemon the legendary the Sword Dog from Sword and Shield is going to be joining Pokemon Unite. And then
Hmm.
Pokemon is getting a new CGI show on Netflix called Pokemon Concierge.
Yeah, and that one looks pretty
Then,
cool because it's like a stop. What's the art style? It's like stop motion or something like that. So that'll be really interesting to see how that plays out because like it's all like handmade and
mhm.
each frame is like manipulated and molded by somebody. So I'm
Yeah, it's like clay.
yeah. So I'm really curious to see how that is going to be, and it's surprising to see Netflix get this deal.
Yeah, definitely. But then again, Netflix is being trying to be rather competitive in the market of new shows,
Yeah,
whether they're good or bad. Because like Hulu and HBO Max, they're big competitors. So how do you keep up after Dying Light?
yeah. It's a
All
stop
right, and
motion
then
animated series. Stop motion is what it's called.
yes. And then the last two things we have here are Pokemon TCG Classic, a reprinting of the original Pokemon series cards, is going to be coming later this year. They are newer, high definition reprints, really good reprints of the original Pokemon cards, including like Blastoise, Charizard, as well as Venusaur. Just that first series of cards is getting reprinted.
I'm surprised they did this because of how valuable that first set is right now, and now like with the
It's not going to
release,
even drop the value, though.
you don't.
Honestly, it's not going to touch the value because people are buying the originals for nostalgia. Now people are going to be able to like, well, now I can get that nostalgia
But cheaper.
on cheap.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's still not going to hurt the price of a first edition Charizard foil, But it's definitely going to be like, well, maybe I want a Charizard too, and I can't afford it.
right.
Now you don't have to print it, People, Pokemon is going to make a lot of fucking money from this set,
Yeah, and I
a
heard,
lot of
and the
fucking
thing is, I
money.
heard it's a limited set too, so it's still
Hmm.
going to have some kind of value. I know a bunch of people are going to buy it up, and them scalpers are going to resell it.
Yeah, you probably check me opening up some packs on my stream or something. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
buy a box. All right. Lastly, we did also see the Pokemon World Championship. We saw the sort of teaser video for the next location in Japan for where the Pokemon Championship is going to be for TCG, Pokemon, the actual game itself for the Scarlet and Violet, as well as Pokemon Go, I think, has some stuff now.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
and that is all the Pokemon news, surprisingly. But it was big. Scarlet and
Yeah.
Violet did have a big update this week, so that's interesting and be awesome to see how it goes. Maybe we'll get some more bug fixes, some more just better all around fixes for Scarlet and Violet.
Right. I mean, I'm all for it. I haven't checked it out yet, so hopefully by the time I do get to this game, it's going to be really
Really
fleshed out. It's
polished.
going to be polished. It's going to be an actual game now. No issues, not falling through the map. No glitches. All good to go for me. But next up on our list here for gaming news, a game that was announced in last summer, Atlas Fallen. It officially got its release date set for May 16th of this year, coming to all new gen consoles, no old gen here. So PS5, Xbox Series S and X, and the PC. This is an action RPG set in a world covered by sand, and the world is known as Atlas. It looked pretty cool. It just has that sci-fi fantasy like look to it.
Next gen only.
Yeah. Um,
That's what we want to hear.
and it's being developed by Deck 13 Interactive, so I'm really excited for this one. So we'll have to wait and see though if that's going to be a success story or just another flop because we've been getting a lot of those games lately. But Roger, another
Yeah.
game that was not a flop is getting a sequel, but got some good bad news. I don't know. We'll see.
So The Wolf Among Us 2 is being delayed till next year to avoid crunching and kind of ruining the game. And they'll also be transitioning from Unreal Engine 4 to 5. So we'll get that better engine, that more, the higher resolution, the crisper, cleaner Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah, so I mean that's why I said like it's bad news like because it got delayed, but it's a good because to avoid crunch we don't like to see the developers go through the crunch all the time, and then on top of that it is switching from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5, and we know how phenomenal Unreal Engine 5 is, so I'm really curious to see how that game's gonna look on there.
Definitely. And then Vic, what's going on with Fortnite?
Fortnite man is having another crossover added to the roster here with the movie Creed. Creed 3 just dropped the other day, and me and my fiance actually went to go see it. But you'll be able to play as Michael B. Jordan, hit Creed from the movie, in Fortnite. So another movie collaboration. So that's pretty awesome to see there. But on to something that's bigger and better. I think Valorant is adding a new agent. Roger, tell us a little bit about this one.
So we got it's essentially a crossover, let's be honest here. It's Pokemon meets Valorant. Gecko, agent number 22, born in LA. He's one of our newest American agents. I believe it's our third agent from America, including Viper as well as Breach or Brimstone. So his abilities as an initiator is going to be Dizzy. Equip Dizzy, and you send him soaring towards enemies through the air. Dizzy charges and then unleashes plasma blasts at enemy in line of sight. Enemies hit by her plasma are blinded, and when Dizzy expires, she reverts into a dormant globule. Interact to pick that up and gain another charge of Dizzy again. So you're just like lobbing Dizzy, you go grab it, lobbing Dizzy.
Yeah, but there is a
So you run
cooldown, so you
around.
got to look. So you're not going to be
Yeah,
spamming
yeah,
this
yeah.
too much.
Yeah. Next, we've got Wingman, which is their Q ability. Equip Wingman and fire to send it forward, seeking enemies. It unleashes a concussive blast towards the first enemy he sees. And if you alt fire when targeting a spike site or plant spike to have Wingman diffuse or plant the spike,
Huge.
now you can actually get a spike. It's post plant and pre plant meta on an ability. This
Yeah.
is this is kind of this is kind of crazy to me. I'm interested to see how it works.
Yeah.
But to plant, Gecko must have the spike in your inventory. When the wingman expires, he reverts into a dormant globule as well. So now you can pick him back up
Yeah.
after a
Like
cooldown. You can use him.
this with this ability alone is game changer. Like just thinking about it, all those times that you're like in a 1v1 situation and you got to go over to defuse or defend or whatever, and like you can throw your thing to have it start diffusing and then try to take him out instead
Well,
of trying to go for the
well,
spike.
the thing is, like planting the spike. It's a 4v5 if everyone makes it onto site.
Yeah.
So now you're having one player sit there and try to arm the spike. This is going to change the game because now you're just like, you plant and
Yeah.
I'll fight with my team.
Right. Then you're at a 5v5 or whatever. Now you have five people attacking as opposed to being down one because one of them's planting. So I don't know about you. I've been thinking about hopping back into Valorant. I want to hop back in whenever this new agent
I'd like
releases.
to get probably back in before him,
Yeah, I'm done.
before he
We
drops to get
I
back
haven't
in.
even checked
Maybe
out
we'll
the new
play there
map.
soon. Yeah, same. I keep seeing all these issues because the map is bugged, like especially with the rotating door.
Yeah.
That shit is game breaking. Next up, we have Mosh Pit, which is a C ability. Equip Mosh Fire to throw Mosh like a grenade, Alt Fire to throw underhanded, and upon landing, it duplicates across a large area and then after a short delay, blows up. So it's just raise grenade, but better, I
It
guess.
sounds like it. So
I
like,
just
bro, when I was reading this, I was like, is this my new main? Is this it? Is this my new main? I love it already because like this seems like very aggressive kind of playstyle here.
And then lastly, we have the ultimate Thrash. Equip Thrash. Fire to link with Thrash's mine and steer through her into enemy territory. Activate to lunge towards and explode, detaining any enemies hit in a small radius. And when it expires, she reverts into a dormant globule that you can pick back up
Yeah,
to gain one charge towards your next ult. So it's an ult that refunds itself.
yeah. I'm really curious to see how Gecko is going to play out in the meta. Like this is almost going to be like you have to have
This is a
Gecko on the team.
this is going to be a Gecko. Gecko is going to be on every map and every comp until they figure out whether it's good or not.
Yeah,
And then whether or not they want it to stay in the meta will determine whether or not they destroy it in balancing.
yeah, like they do most characters.
Like Raze.
Yes, yes, like my favorite, like my main.
Uh, all right, so let's move on from the world of PC to PlayStation. PlayStation news for Final Fantasy 16. Sony is now actually assisting in the development of Final Fantasy 16. It's not just Square Enix. And this was confirmed by producer Naoki Yoshida. PlayStation has been providing generous, they say in
Yeah,
quotations, technical support, cited as one of the biggest reasons for exclusivity agreements. That's why this game isn't coming to other consoles, is because Sony is in the development process and they need to make sure it stays exclusive. So this is their way of baby gloving to make sure the game stays theirs.
right. And I'm pretty sure this has got to be being brought up in this whole Microsoft Activision Blizzard deal. Like, hey, Sony's over here like putting their hands in the pot, making shit that's exclusive that's not even theirs. But as soon as Xbox wants to buy something and make it
Well,
theirs, they
and
can't make
and
it
the thing
exclusive.
is, like, Square Enix has mostly been under Sony for many,
Yeah,
many
for
years,
the
and
most part, yeah.
they're not, yeah, it's not like they were ever really like, working for Sony, but they only published to Sony platform.
Yeah,
And then they started to dabble with, especially like Game Pass and Microsoft Store and stuff like that, and we've seen some Final Fantasy games come to the PC. Well, and also, how else do you play the Final Fantasy MMOs other than you know, on the computer? Like I literally needed a keyboard and mouse when I wanted to play the original Final Fantasy MMO on my
hmm
PS2. I bought it and I was like, this is gonna be great. I went to go play it and they're like, you need a subscription, you need a mouse and keyboard to be able to type everything in, and I was like, the fuck?
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. But lastly, the crossover we didn't know we didn't need was LeBron James is teaming up with Sony to create a limited edition controller and console plates. So this is one of our big times. We're finally seeing some plates. Where were the plates for all of
All of
their
their
first
first
party
party.
games? We got a shitty fucking controller. Where were the plates to go with the controller for my console for God of War Ragnarok? But LeBron James is getting his own plate? This is dumb as shit.
Yeah.
This is the thing we didn't know we didn't need.
Okay, I think I found episode 81. Where were the plates? Question mark.
Where were the plates? Yeah.
Oh shit,
Ah,
that's crazy. But man, Sony just lost another exclusive game. It just keeps adding to the list, bro. Obviously, we already knew this. It was announced a while ago, but Sifu is got its official release date for March 28th, and this is the announcement of the arena's expansion, and it's also coming to Xbox and Steam for the first time. No announcement yet that this is coming to Game Pass, so I'm kind of holding out. Like maybe this is the halfway through March. Hey guys, new Game Pass games coming. Sifu is coming on March 28th to Game Pass. and that would just break the internet again, just because Sifu was one of the best indie developed games last year. So I'm really this was a game that I was like, man, I want to buy a PS5 just so I can play Sifu, and then they were like, hey, it's coming to Xbox sometime next year, and I was like, well, never mind. But really excited there. But speaking about Xbox here, they got a couple updates in regards to some of the games. There's a game coming out called Pragmata. It's coming to Xbox sometime in 2023. It's an all new action adventure title that depicts a near future dystopian world on the moon through a deeply profound story and setting. When they announced this game and it was all over Twitter, I was like, so deliver us the moon? Is that what I see here? Because that's what it sounds like and looks like from the marketing. And I was just like, we'll see. I mean, if it's like it and it's something a little bit different, I'm for it because I really enjoyed Deliver Us the Moon and any of those space sci-fi dystopian worlds. I'm for it. So we'll see how that plays out for sure. But just some updates for Hi-Fi Rush. Obviously, a gem this year surpassed 2 million players already, and it also just recently added photo mode. And this game is really beautiful because it's not one of those like hyper realistic games. The art
It's
style is
what's
unique.
awesome is it's got that comic book style art style,
I love
and
it.
it looks and plays like a PS2 game.
Yeah.
And people were talking about this on Reddit for a while there. They're like, we don't need all these crazy games. Look at the garbage pile that was Forspoken.
Hmm.
You know, that was a piece of shit. It
Yeah.
was honestly a garbage fire. But look over there at Hi-Fi, and we're like, man, all we needed was a PS2 game ported to the PC and to the Xbox
Hmm.
with like crappy graphics for, looks like a comic book, like an
Hmm.
80s comic book. That's all we need.
Yeah.
It plays well, it's awesome. We don't need some big open world, we're spoken the isekai we didn't need.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But yeah, man, that's all of our gaming news this week. Not much really going on, to be honest, there. But if you want to kick off our, no, it's actually me kicking off the leaks and rumors this week.
I
Arm,
mean, you put yourself there.
I know I'm the one that created. I forgot. But Armored Core 6: Fires of Rubicon did announce that the report is the releasing of September to October release window here, and this is really
I'm
exciting
so
because
excited.
I actually forgot to throw the Elden Ring DLC into the itinerary here because I forgot about that. Duh. It was in
Yeah.
the in the promo because they wanted to make sure they released this game before the DLC for Elden Ring comes out, which is going to be sometime next year. But the Elden Ring DLC, on the other hand, does look really good. I mean, we didn't really get to see too much. It was more of like a, hey guys, new DLCs coming out, and they said it looks like it's like a prequel, almost potentially based off of the image that we saw. Do you have any thoughts on the upcoming DLC? You there?
Sorry, you disconnected, and I was like,
Oh,
"What?" And the podcast froze as well. You just dropped.
oh damn, rip. But no,
Rip.
I was seeing if you had any thoughts on the upcoming Elden Ring DLC. You there?
Yeah, I'm here, and you aren't. No, but I'm excited for
Hold on,
Armored
real
Core
quick.
6.
Let me. Is the
Yep.
podcast still good?
I think we're still good here. I think we're
Because
still
we're in the middle of
live.
an
I'm
ad
seeing
break.
myself. No, I'd look it over. We're good.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, Armored Core 6, the fact that it's releasing September to October is awesome.
Hmm.
It's right around the corner. Um, it looks awesome, but the Elden Ring DLC, I haven't even looked at it. I'm like, it's so far off. I don't want to get myself excited. I'm just like, I'm teasing out the fact that like Elden Ring's right around the corner, but it's such a good game, and we're finally, over a year later, gonna finally see our new release. And the fact that they're like, oh shit, we can't just like release two of our things on the same fucking like month here. So for the Shadow of the Erd Tree here, I'm excited to see what we're gonna do, where we're gonna go. We're following our maiden once again. Um, we're gonna be what are we doing here? Does it even have anything? I think.
For
Yeah,
the
it
Elden Ring
they
DLC.
literally they really don't have anything about what's gonna happen other than these few promo images they released. And it's gonna come out after Armored Core 6, which is awesome. The fact that they're not gonna step on their own toes, maybe some other developers should learn from this example to kind of release things at different points.
Yeah, I
You
definitely
know,
agree. So, yeah, someone, I don't know if you
it's
heard me saying it before I dropped out there, but they were saying that this DLC could probably be a like a prequel of some sort
Mhm.
based off of the promo image because of the one, I guess the lady that's riding that horse or like somebody about that character, like they shouldn't be there. So like that happened before the actual game because I don't know anything about the Elden Ring story. So but that was just a speculation that this could be some kind of prequel DLC.
Yeah. No, I it looks like it because the maiden is still in the game. She's riding the horse oxen creature that you get at the very beginning of the game there. And it's the Erd because at the end of the game, the Erd tree itself, you pretty much either burn or remake the world. So like the game's over. Like so it has to be either a prequel or like some kind of time jump backwards,
Hmm.
or even, maybe a side story, like another alternate reality. But we don't have very much information and we're kind of just watching to see what happens from this. But we do have some interesting news for the virtual reality world. The competitor to the VR headset 2 from Sony, Quest 3, reportedly is going to be twice as powerful and slightly more expensive than the Quest 2. It will take advantage of mixed reality, hopefully, as well as being released this year, possibly.
Yeah, that'll
What you
be
think?
interesting.
Is this your turn to get is this your time to get a VR?
No,
Is this it?
no,
No?
because
No?
I deleted our deep freeze moment just because of time for time purposes. Didn't think we should go to 8:30 tonight, but just to cover it real quick though is I'm a firm believer that VR is a niche market, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit real quick was because of the post made by the ex Nintendo president. He was like, out of the game sales, it was like 40 million in game sales. Only like 1% of those game sales are VR games, and it's
Hmm.
like that's like nothing. That's like almost irrelevant. Like mobile, like every other platform is bigger. Like cloud gaming is bigger than that. Like VR is just not meant for people, and it's probably also in part just because of the entry door. If I want a PSVR 2, I have to buy the PS5. Like we talk about all the time, it's a $500 console. The PSVR 2 is
With a $500 add-on.
yeah, $500 add-on, and if I want a TV that's going to look good with the PS5, that's another like $8,000 right
Hmm.
there. Like it's expensive, and then like the Quest, it's getting expensive year after year. Like they raised the price on the Quest 2, and then the Quest 3 is
Yep.
reported to be even $100 more than that. So like you're making these things inaccessible to people, to the average
And
consumer,
and so the market is so small, there isn't room for development on it. There's really no interest in developing on it. So
right?
like
It's one
it
of those
just
like high
honestly,
risk, high reward things because like why would a company
yeah,
invest that much money into making a game that
like
barely
there's
anybody's going to
so much
play?
future though. There's so much future in VR, but like the money's not there because the entry level is so hard. As you make perfectly clear. Like it's like buying a Tesla. You buy the Tesla, but you have to buy, the same amount of add-ons for the same price as the Tesla. So like, why?
Right.
It, and it's just insane.
Yeah. But moving on to another meta world here, Minecraft is getting a world editor, potentially coming to Bedrock soon, and it's like a different version of the creative world, where like there's going to be like pre-built fabs that you can like place around, as opposed to having to build each like building like block by block. So that'll be pretty
Well,
cool and really useful.
this is something that we've been dealing with the Java editions. For people who don't know, you can actually open up the files and there are world editors that you can essentially build whole giant voxel art
Hmm.
without having to do it by hand through the Minecraft game. This is now coming to the Bedrock edition though, which is awesome.
Yeah, I don't know why they have to have two different versions. Like they could just have one version of Minecraft and call it a day.
Yeah, well, the thing was they never wanted to get the Java edition working for PC for the Xbox, what, back in 2010?
Yeah,
I think it was 2011 it came out.
and
You're like,
now
"Oh
both of
man,
them are
let's
on there.
play it on Xbox." And I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly." So it's like, why haven't we merged the two branches? It's get developers out here who are like, "No, this is my branch and I'm going to develop it my way." And it's
right.
like, bro, just like, why don't we get one game where everyone can play? And it's like, it's a little silly, but let's move on to the last topic here. What an interesting topic this was. You posted
Yeah,
it earlier today, and I
yeah.
was like, hold up, what?
Yeah,
Don't we already have CS:GO? Don't we already have Counter-Strike 2? No, Counter-Strike Go
yeah.
Global Offensive number 2 might be on the way. A beta possibly releasing this summer for the newest Counter-Strike. Is Valorant going to have a run for its money, you think?
I think so. I mean, because I mean, this is like hard evidence. Like people are seeing like images of this stuff happening. Some people have already been playing like the insider version of the game, and they're basically alluding to like, hey, this is going to be like this could be announced at like E3 Summer Games Fest, and then boom, here it is. Go check out the beta. You know what I'm saying? So I think that this could be give Valorant a run for its money. Honestly, I mean, like I'm not a huge fan of CS:GO 1, but maybe this will be
I
this.
mean,
This might be my
honestly,
chance.
if you have to buy the game, it builds that barrier for entry. It's like Warzone. You have to have a good anti-cheat engine, and you also have to make your source code super, super secure. Otherwise, people are just going to be able to jump in with easily, readily available toolkits for hacking
Yeah,
because they have your source code and the game's free. So, yeah, cool, ban me. I'll make a new Steam account. It's not that hard.
right. Yeah, so that was a pretty interesting news that came across, and I was like, no way, man. Like, are we really going to get a CS:GO 2? Like, CS:GO has been so big for so long, and now they're just like, hey guys, we're going to make a new one. The curious thing is, you know how big the microtransaction market is in CS:GO. Do all of your microtransactions going to carry over to CS:GO 2?
That's an amazing question, and I hope so because people have spent thousands of dollars on guns just so that they could have one skin from a tournament back in 2012 or 2011. And also all the gambling that's involved with it. Like
Yeah.
it's still a problem, but one of the coolest things though about this is the game will run on Source 2 engine and feature 128 tick rate servers, which will improve matchmaking and gameplay.
Maybe that's what it needs.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like CS:GO right now, to me, just feels really,
Yeah.
really, really
Well,
outdated.
it's CS:GO is a 14-year-old game.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So
crazy.
like
I mean,
there's
because
nothing you can do because they're not updating the engine.
right.
So there's only so much you can do to keep patching it.
Right, and in comparison, like we talked about Rainbow Six Siege last week because they announced year 8, and then they also announced that hey, we plan to support this game for another 10 years. So that means a total of 18 years of Rainbow Six Siege content. But like, do you improve the engine at all, like in that process, or you just do updates, or like when do you think it's time to make that upgrade to a new engine? Is really the question, or if at all. Because I mean, the game looks good, it runs good, but like eventually it's going to look outdated, and it's going to be time for an upgrade. But we'll see. But yeah, that's all of our leaks and rumors this week. So let's go ahead and close out this week episode. So we want to thank everyone that checked us out live today. We appreciate all the chatter we got today, and anyone who does check us out later on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. But Roger, where can the viewers find you
Hey, if you really want to find me, it's on Twitch. That's where I'm at all the
at?
time. And I'm on Discord. You know where I'm at on Discord. You can check out my server. If you don't have the link, it's at twitch.tv/lunatic_oblivion. I do have a Twitter. It's lunatic oblivion with no underscore, but I don't really post there. So if you want to find me on Discord.
And of course, you can check me over at Twitter at Mr. Never Chillin underscore Xbox's X Never Space Chillin. If you want a game party up, hit me up there. Facebook is Vic Brubacher. Question, concerns, or if you want to come on the show, just throw me a message on there. And of course, I'm streaming over at my Twitch at twitch.tv/Mr. Never Chillin. Currently playing through Lost in Random, Atomic Heart, and soon to be Rage 2 as well. So be on the lookout for all of my games there. But want to thank everyone again. But until next time, peace.
Restart podcast.